Hello and welcome to new session of Easy Power BI. In this session, we are going to uh, cover the standard visuals. Basically, this is meant for beginners who are actually exploring Power BI. And in my last video, I have explained how to pull data from external sources and get going with your visualization journey. In this example, I'm going to cover the available visualization which are by default available when you are installing Power BI desktop. And although there are other Microsoft based visuals available, but those are not included in this session. I will primarily focus on uh, default visualizations which are available when you are installing Power BI. So let's start. In this example, basically what I'm going to do over here, I'm going to get data from a source, which is Excel, and I have already selected the source file which I'm going to use for this particular example. So if you see in my last example, I have told you that like if you are pulling data from a table, it will be well structured. But if you are pulling data from standard sheet, it might not be in proper form. For this example, we are pulling data from this table, which is sample data table. I'm going to click on load. Because this data is already in clean form, I don't need any data transformation steps over here. So once it's loaded, you'll see over here that these three columns are appearing like country, sales, and year. Now, this is the simplest example of visualization where we are pulling data from our standard Excel sheet and we are not applying any data transformation, assuming that our data is in pretty good shape. So to start with, I'm going to select the first visualization, which is table. In table, we are going to pull our columns based on our preference, like country, year, and sale. Now, once you pull this particular data into this visualization, you'll see that this year number is not appearing correctly because this is actually summation of the year column, which is not required over here. So I'm going to select year column and I'll click on don't summarize. Now you'll see that my data is in pretty good shape and it is available over here for further manipulation. In every visualization, you have Format tab. Once you click on Format tab, you can apply changes in appearance of this particular visualization. So over here, for this particular visualization, I'm going to select column header and I'm going to increase size of my column header. For example, I'll select 12. In the same manner, I'm going to select values and I'm going to increase its size to 12. I can resize my visualization over here. So this is the way you can simply play around with the appearance and uh, settings formatting of your visualization. So this is the simplest of all because most of us are very much familiar with the table structure. So this table structure is very good to start your journey and understand what you can do with Power BI visualization. Another important thing over here is the sequence in which you have pulled these particular columns. So this can be changed based on your requirement. For example, I'm dragging this year and I'm putting it over here. So now you will see that year is our first column, country is second, and sales is our third column. So in this manner, this can be quite easily managed. Furthermore, there are visual level filters available. Now, whatever I'm explaining over here, in most of the cases, these are very much common in all visuals. So you will find the same sections in every visual whenever you are going in the field section or you're going in the format section. But there might be certain variation based on the nature of that particular visual. But more or less, if you are understanding this concept properly, you will be able to grab the way you are going to use and configure or alter your visualizations. Now over here, if I'll select a single country or multiple countries, my filtration will be applicable on my visualization. And now over here, I can see only two countries which were selected. In the same manner, you can select one country or you can select all. So this visualization filters are applicable in different scenarios. For example, I'm uh, creating a report which is specific to certain countries or region, so I can eliminate or hide data from my actual data instead of removing and calling a different data set or performing some additional transformations and filtering in the data source. You can simply play around with your visual level filters and this can be quite easily achieved. This requirement can be easily achieved over here. So this is basic example of how we can pull data. So now there are other features available like page level filters and report level filters, which we will discuss in our future videos. But for this particular video, we are concentrating on basic uh, properties. So now over here, one more important thing is that like in some cases, you might want to change the size of the column. So the easiest way of doing this is like putting your columns like this. So if you are actually dragging the whole column like this, then you can simply adjust the remaining ones. So it's up to you like which size you want to set based on the data, because you are well, you can judge in better way like what can be the length of this, or you can say the width of this particular column in case if there is a big country name like United States of America or United Arab Emirates. So in that case, if you are using bigger names, then you might need the column size much bigger. So you can simply drag and you can change the column size over here. So you can adjust it accordingly. So this is the first example. Now the second example is matrix. If you are familiar with Microsoft Excel, matrix is somewhat similar in terms of behavior and appearance. Over here in matrix, I'm going to select countries in rows, sales in values. So you can see country names and the sale appearing in front of them. And if I'll click and drag here in columns, my data will be appearing like this. So I have kind of subtotals available over here and grand total appearing over here. In the same manner, the country wise subtotals are appearing on the rightmost column, and this is the grand total. So either you are adding from this side or this side, the grand total will be same. Once again, quickly, if you want to change the size of values, once again you have you've been noticing that it's very much similar to previous visualization, like when we use the same properties in uh, table, the same properties are available in matrix as well. So it's up to you, like how you are going to handle it and how you are going to modify it based on your requirement. So just to make it more readable, I have changed. So this is how you can change properties or formatting of your visualization. In this manner, it can be more readable. There might be some variation. For example, over here in metrics, I need an additional setting in the row header as well. So there might be minor variation in different visuals, but more or less the idea is same, like how you want to or how you can change the formatting of your visuals. So to make your visuals better, you can also use border facilities. In this case, you can identify boundaries of every visual, because in some cases you might expect some overlapping if these borders are not visible properly. So it's better to have light colored borders, because this is the only way you can you can easily judge that, because initially borders were not applied, so there are some overlappings observed. So this can be avoided if you are using borders. In our next example, we are going to use different visual. Now, one thing which is very important, like whenever you are adding a new visual, uh, nothing should be selected. For example, if I'll click over here and by mistake I select a new visual, it will change my current visual to a different one. But in order to keep both and have a new visual, you have to first deselect this one. So nothing should be selected on your canvas, and then you can click on new visualization. For example, over here I am selecting clustered column chart, and the clustered column chart is, for this particular example, I'm using country in axis, or you can say year in axis, sale in value. Now, if you see over here, it is giving me uh, consolidated, you can say the chart based on the consolidated values of all countries, like for year 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. But if I want to have a chart which should give me an idea like which country is performing in which way, so I'll pull this country and I'll pull it in the region part. Now I can easily compare every country, like what is the performance in each year for each country. Once again, in this particular case, you can apply formatting. So there are different areas, as I said, like more or less things are similar, but you might notice additional properties based on the type of visualization you are using. So once again, I'm adding borders, and now you can see the border is appearing over here in this particular. Now, one important thing I'm going to explain over here, like all these visualizations are very well knitted and they are connected with each other. Like if you are doing selection on each visual, the other one which are connected with this visual are automatically updated. For example, if I click on Bahrain 2015, so it is giving me the data of Bahrain, and in visualization it is the bar chart. For example, this Bahrain's 2015 data is selected automatically. So if in 2015 I'm going to select Bahrain and 2015 Pakistan, now it is comparing both countries' data for the year 2015. So this can be done in either way, like there is no need to select on this particular visualization. You can select it anywhere. For example, over here you can see the year 2015 country Pakistan. So if I click over here, so this is going to show me only this data, and if I'm going to compare this 2015 with 2017, it's going to give me a comparison like what is the difference between 2015 and 2017, and everywhere data is updated automatically. Now I'm going to use a couple of more visual, but I'm confident that you have already understood how these visualizations are working. Now there are some interesting visuals over here. Like for here, you can see a tree map. So I'll pull a tree map over here. And in the tree map, I'm going to select sales and I'm going to select country. So this tree map is going to give me a very good picture like which of the country is performing well. So with this visual, because the idea of visualization is like without even seeing the actual figures, you should understand exactly what this visualization is trying to explain. Now, one important thing in these kind of visuals, like it's your choice in properties if you want to show uh, data labels. So you'll see that the values are also appearing over here, like in 1 million and 2 million. Now over here, there is one important thing, like in display unit, you can see that it has automatically converted it to millions. But if you don't want to do it, you can click on none. So the actual values will appear over here. And if you want to increase the size to make it more visible, you can increase that as well. Finally, I'm going to select uh, a map visual. In map visual, I'm going to show you like how your regions or countries can be plotted on the visualization. So although it's a fairly simple report, but you can see that we have already included lot many uh, visuals which are collectively giving you a very good picture of this data. So anyone who can see this visual will grab and understand exactly what it's trying to say. Now over here, I'm going to drag country on my location, and you'll see that this data is telling a story about these three countries like Bahrain, UAE, and Pakistan. Now for size, I'm going to select sales. So once I have selected sales over here, the circle is actually explaining me or trying to explain that uh, the bigger sale chunk of this whole data is from this country. Second one is this one, and third one is this one. Once again, if I want to relate this data to my other chart, then I'll put my country in region. So what will happen? The color difference is giving me further clarity. Like this color is for UAE, this color is for Pakistan, and this color is for Bahrain. So this map visual is actually showing you how it's arranged and which country has more contribution in this particular data. Now finally, I'm going to use slicer, which is a very common uh, visualization and which is meant for proper slicing of your data. So over here I'm only dragging year in this field. So you'll see that it has given me a very clean slicer in which I can select the range like between 2016 and 2018, 2015 and 2018, and I can also select based on the text input. So it's your choice. Like in this case, we are having very minimal data. That's why our bar is showing some steps over here. But if we have plenty of data or is a kind of a continual in continuation, then you might have a very smooth slicer over here. In a similar manner, if I'm using another slicer over here, I can use it for year, sorry, for country. So I'll have this country slicer. So instead of selecting countries from here, I can directly select country from here and my whole data will transform based on that particular country. Now for this particular visualization, if you see that this map is going like zoom in and zoom out. So if I know that my data is restricted to this region only and this particular uh, you can say the snapshot or the tile which is appearing for the map is okay for me, so I'll click on this particular map and I'll select map control and I'll switch off auto zoom. Now when I'm selecting different countries, this map zooming will not be done automatically because I have switched off its zooming. So now my map tile is very much stagnant and it's not creating any kind of confusion for me. So this is how we have created a very easy visual and a report, and we have used very much you can say sensible visuals which can make good sense of our data. So in your case you can try out whenever you are starting your journey in Power BI, it is better you should work on simple data, understand each and every visual, and how what is the behavior of each visual and what kind of properties you need to set for these visuals. So in my next videos, I'm going to go more in details like what else you can do with these visuals because there are some other dependencies and other properties which we need to understand to make quality visuals. I hope you have understood it properly. So keep watching my channel and keep watching my blog as well. So visit easypowerbi.com and I'll be adding more videos and subscribe to my YouTube channel and my blog. I hope you will learn in very easy manner and I'm going to explain and in future I'm going to upload sample files as well. Thank you.